Welcome back to Recap in Minutes. In today's video, we will be going through a 2021 horror thriller movie titled Old. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The Coppa family, parents Guy and Priska and their kids, Maddox and Trent, are in a bus. They arrive at a fancy resort for a family vacation. Guy and Priska are welcomed with cocktails. Immediately, Trent befriends a young boy named Idlib. After settling into their room, Trent and Idlib goes to the beach, and they do activities like ask other resort patrons what their names and jobs are. Later that night, Guy and Priska discuss that this is just one last trip they wanted to give the kids before they divorce, which is made worse because Priska is suffering from a tumor. Meanwhile, Maddox and Trent listen to their parent from their room. After they stop, Trent reads a message in special code from Idlib. At breakfast, a doctor named Charles is sitting with his young vain wife Crystal, daughter Cara, and mother Agnes. Nearby, a woman named Patricia is having an epileptic seizure, which Charles helps with while her husband Jaron also tries to help. Trent also spots Idlib, as they made plans to hang out again that day, but the resort manager, which is also Idlib's uncle, makes him leave the area. Then he attends to the Coppa family and persuades them to come to a private beach surrounded by stunning rocks. He says he only recommended it to certain guests, and they should make it a secret. The Coppas, plus Charles and his family, all board a van that takes them to a private beach. They drive through an old gate where the driver drops them at a short distance to the beach and tells them to walk down. They would see the beach, and he will come to pick them in the evening. The families all walk through a slot canyon and arrive at the beach and settle. There, Maddox recognizes a rapper, mid-sized sedan, real name Brendan, who was earlier with a female companion who went skinny dipping in the beach. The kids all play together while the adults lounge on the sand. The girls find old dolls buried in the sand, left behind by other kids. Trent swims by a cave when he discovers the body of Brendan's companion, apparently having drowned. He screams out of the water, and the adults examine the body, while Brendan is suffering from nosebleeds and is equally stunned at the discovery. Charles suspects Brendan of foul play, though he maintains that the woman only went for a swim and never came back. Not long after, Agnes begins to fall short of breath before she also dies. Charles believes she died from shock as a result of seeing the murdered lady. Jaron and Patricia arrive at the beach as well, but the people who brought them are already gone. The kids also start to experience something weird. Brendan explains to the adults that the woman he was with had multiple sclerosis, while he has hemophilia, which explains his constant nosebleeds. Trent and Maddox chats with Jaron and Patricia by asking their names and occupation. Jarlin asks the same plus their age. Trent replies 6 while Maddox 11. These two are shocked and thinks the kids are playing jokes on them as their appearances seem to be older than that. Then, Priska appears asking Jaron and Patricia where her kids are. The two responds then Priska recognizes her kids who have suddenly aged up. Also, Guy comes and sees his kids grown up. Several attempts are made to leave the beach by going through the rocks that close off the beach from the outside, but all the adults that attempt to pass through feel a pounding in their heads before they black out and end up back on the beach. They also notice unusual things, like when Charles attacks Brendan with a knife, the slash mark heals within seconds. The kids, Trent and Maddox, plus Cara realize they have grown older. Not long after, Brendan finds that the body of the woman he was with has now fully decomposed to nothing but bones within hours, making them realize that there is something time-related occurring on the beach. Suddenly, the tumor in Priska's stomach starts to cause her pain and distress. The adults try to help her, with them feeling around for the tumor at first and describing it as the size of a golf ball. She collapses, and they proceed to perform a surgery to remove the tumor, which has grown to the size of a cantaloupe. The cut in Priska's stomach heals rapidly after the procedure. Trent and Cara are seen under a tent and age up even more. What's more is that Cara has somehow become 5 months pregnant within a matter of minutes. The adults prepare themselves for the birth, which happens rather quickly, but the baby dies after a minute due to lack of attention. Also, time is moving too fast for a baby to survive. The other adults start to show more visible signs of aging, but Crystal takes the process much harder than the others. Charles starts to lose his mind to schizophrenia, leading him to stab Brendan to death. The others take his weapon away while trying to come up with an alternate plan of escape. Knowing they can't go through the rocks, Jaron attempts to swim to find a way out. While this happens, Maddox talks to Priska about whether or not she and Guy are splitting up. Priska admits that she was seeing another man. Although Priska tries to explain herself, Maddox is angry with her. She goes out to the beach and attempts to be strong and find a way out herself, but she finds Joran's body, apparently having gone unconscious and drowned, leaving Patricia devastated. Trent and Kara have a moment, where Kara complains they never had memories like going for a prom or graduation. The two then bury their dead baby. Kara then desperately tries to find a way out and starts climbing up the rocks to try and make it to the top, but before she can make it high enough, she blacks out and falls to her death, leaving Trent devastated. Charles has become fully mentally deranged. Patricia also gets desperate to swim out the beach with tubes when she suffers a fatal seizure, while Crystal is also losing her mind at her rapid aging and declining physical state. She has grown a hunchback. Guy is also losing his sight, and Priska is noticeably grayer. It is now nighttime. Trent and Maddox come across a notebook left by a previous visitor, with names and medical conditions written down. They also notice what looks like people in the distance observing them. Guy and Priska talk about the other man in Priska's life, with Guy admitting he knew about him and wished that he did more to keep their marriage working, but he also notes that the other guy is a loser and that she deserves someone better. Later, Charles then starts to attack Guy and Priska, while Trent and Maddox are attacked by Crystal when they try to look at her. She follows them into the cave and her body becomes twisted and contorted to horrible angles before she dies there. Priska then slashes Charles with a rusty knife, causing an infection that rapidly spreads through his body and kills him. The Kappas then gather around the campfire and the beach. Guy is having a hard time speaking and remembering things, but he essentially admits to Priska that he still loves her just before he dies. Priska then stands up for a moment but collapses and dies by Guy's side while both kids mourn their parents. In the morning, Trent and Maddox are now in their 50s, playing with sands like kids. Trent brings up a code that Idlib gave him, which he deciphered and figured out means, "My uncle doesn't like the coral." They spot a coral reef nearby and realize that it must be their way out. The two swim out there, but Maddox's clothing gets stuck on the coral. When the two resurface, the van driver that brought the families to the beach reports to his bosses that all members of Trial 73 have perished. It is then revealed that the resort is a front for a medical research team that lures people with medical conditions to the beach in order to perform clinical trials for life-saving drugs, given to them in the cocktails served upon arriving. They know that the beach speeds up the aging process, so they reduce the trials to a whole day for better results. They believe they cured Patricia's epilepsy, since she didn't have a seizure for 8 hours, which is equivalent to about 16 years on the beach. The resort manager and others attempt to poach their latest victims until they are stopped by Trent and Maddox, who manage to free themselves from the coral. Trent finds a man he spoke to when he was still a kid, knowing the man is a police officer. He hands the man the journal found on the beach, which details the names of many missing people and their medical conditions. Idlib comes out and recognizes Trent even as an adult. Trent and Maddox reveal the truth to everyone, while all the resort staff realizes they are screwed. Authorities come to arrest all the resort employees, while the officer takes Trent and Maddox to be with their aunt, who is not ready to see that her niece and nephew are full-grown adults. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get notice when a new video is uploaded.